So Wednesday night, I stayed up until like 3 a.m. because my brain's like, you should recast Vice City, or not Vice City, Miami Vice, for like if you were doing a modern like Netflix streaming service gritty reboot of it, because I don't want it to go to Peacock because then I'd never be able to watch it. I picked the perfect cast. Diego Luna as Sonny Crockett. We'll give him like a more Latinx background this time, instead of just going white with Don Johnson. And then Tubbs. This is what Tubbs cast Donald Glover as Tubbs. It'd work. It would work.
80s, who's the new what?
80s music only.
Who's the new villain?
Who needs a villain?
There has to be one.
I didn't get that far. Calderon apparently was the main villain in the series.
Oh, I know it. It's the easiest. It's the lowest hanging fruit. Giancarlo Esposito. That guy is the best bad guy.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. You can also find the show on YouTube every Monday at namely90s.com/YouTube. And finally, if you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/namely90s with a 90s and check out our support levels. We'd appreciate it. It's now actually the new year. Last time, what did we record the New Year episode? Like 3 weeks before the New Year or something like that?
Yeah, I think we only had like 6 episodes done, 5 or 6, depending on how you categorize episodes that we recorded for the holiday episode specials.
And so we're here. It's 2022. We made it. Happy Insurrectionversary a few days ago.
That was yesterday recording. Yeah. Which was it yesterday or the day before? What day is today?
The 6th.
Oh my God. My wall clock says it's tomorrow.
I said it recently, because this is coming out in a few days.
Right.
Yes, Insurrectionversary, as I've come to not actually call it. I just came up with that right now.
I was watching Attack of the Show yesterday. They were filming live on a live stream, and they like kept making like oblique references to it and going, oops, oopsie. And I'm like, oh yeah, a year ago, a bunch of crazy people tried to overthrow our government.
Yes. So here we are. I feel like it's been months since we've recorded, but in reality, it's been
almost a month.
2.5 weeks?
No, it has to be 3 at this point. 3 weeks to the date, probably.
It's just about 3.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, anyway, after we recorded those holiday specials, as you know, my shed died. So
yes,
the pod shed was out of commission for a period of time.
Throw up the graphic.
Turns out partially the shed was dead. One of the GFCI outlets was not installed properly, which I'm still wondering why they billed me for them to fix it. So I had to figure that out. Well, but then I found out there was another outlet that I could have reset in the shed office part, the recording studio, that would have actually made it usable.
You gotta check those JFC outlets, man.
Yeah, JFC, man. KFC.
Which also stands now for Korean fried chicken.
But it feels good to be in the pod shed with the heat on.
Oh yeah, because it's when I was home for the holidays, it snowed for half the time I was there. So, very, very, very valuable rental, just sitting under 6
Yeah.
3 to 6 inches of snow.
Yeah, we had about a foot to 14 inches on the ground here in the deep areas.
Lord.
And it finally melted today.
Wow. Yeah. That's so I had a Chevy Impala, and it did okay, except for when I had to stop to turn onto that one road and coming out of my aunt's like residential neighborhood, and there's just like a bank of snow, and I had to stop, and so I then proceeded to slide trying to get my car onto the road for
the issue is they plow and then it like pushes the berm of snow into like the area you're coming out of, and there was like a pickup truck behind me just kind of just sat there for 5 minutes while it watched me try to get myself free. I was like, once we both got on the road, I gave him a little wave. I'm like, thank you for putting up with me doing that. But the great news is it's a rental car. Just spin the wheels until it starts moving.
I mean,
what? This podcast brought to you by Hertz.
The problem,
not a sponsor.
The problem with the Chevy Impala that I was driving is that it wants to go like hard the moment you just tap the gas pedal.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not used to that. I drive a hybrid Honda, so it's doesn't have that horsepower right off the bat. So I was like,
no.
I was even just tapping it, and it was just like spitting out. I'm like, come on, that's not how American.
You probably
cars
look like a
work.
Total douche from outside.
God, yeah, I definitely did, and this was me trying to get to the airport to leave.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, speaking of airports, I don't know if you've been in SeaTac recently, but they have this amazing message for everyone flying, coming in and out of the Port of Seattle. And it's read by this woman who just sounds like she's just over it at this point due to coronavirus and stuff. But they're like, masks are required in all parts of Seattle Tacoma International Airport. If you are wearing a gaiter, please make sure to double up. If you're wearing a bandana, thank you. Like with that like pause and inflection, I was dying.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, yes. Like, if you're wearing a bandana and a heavy sigh, thank you.
If you're wearing a bandana, please change it out for a plastic bag and put it over your head.
Yeah.
Secure firmly around the neck using a rubber band. What?
I honestly, like, I thought I was like mishearing it or something. I was just like, wow. But then it played again because the SeaTac was a mess when I flew in. But yeah, it was just, that was what I very much enjoyed.
Awesome.
In the last few. Yeah. It was that was pretty good. What about you? How was your holidays?
Oh, worked a bunch. Had Christmas with the fam. What else do we do? That's kind of it. We had a neighborhood Christmas party.
Fun.
That was super fun. We actually, this was the best. So after the families all went home on Christmas night,
boom, chicka, boom, boom.
Most of the couples got together. We had a game night.
Oh.
And we played this awesome game called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. And at first it was the dumbest thing I'd ever encountered. And I was like, oh God, I don't want to learn how to play this. It looks stupid. We had so much fun. It was the best. And then one of the guys had Cards Against Humanity, but he has a bunch of the expansion packs I've never played with. So it actually was funny again.
Have we never played together?
Well, I've only ever played the original.
Because I have the second edition of the bigger, blacker box just to fit all of my cards in.
I don't think we've ever played it together.
I guess not.
But he had a bunch. He had the absurd box and the green box.
Yeah.
And there's some good ones
in there. The green box.
Yeah.
That's just expansion 4 and 5, or 5 and 6, I think.
I just assumed that was pot cards.
Oh no, there's actually a pot expansion that they send you wrappers. Or what are they called?
Oh.
Papers. The rolling papers. They send you rolling papers. Yeah.
Cute.
Right? It's very thematic. If you buy the women's pack, they send you menstrual products.
Oh, good. I always get my menstrual products from board games.
It was I thought it was humorous at the time. What else? I just, the most recent one, they sent you a pack of seeds to plant. Yeah.
So anyway, I think that might be our new tradition.
Menstrual products in board games.
Yeah, no, have everyone over after the families go home. That's when the real fun begins.
Was that Christmas Day?
Yeah, it was Christmas night. The night of Christmas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was cool.
Fun.
It's cool.
Fun.
Yeah. So there you go. Very successful holiday specials again this year, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, we forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, I thought it was a great listen. I always listen to the podcast because I don't edit it. And it was good. It was very good. I
usually listen to it.
When I was making it, I felt like it was awful and it was disjointed and just me, and I just wasn't that good. But I think
Shout
together
out to all of our guests.
Today we did, yeah. Together we did great, and the guests were really spot on. I mean, I thought it was spectacular.
Yeah. We did very well this year. I think. I think the guests bring out the best. You know, they're the ones that kind of drive it, and yeah. I mean, just that's the point. We're here to give you content, listeners, and kind of shine a light on other podcasts within our Twitter sphere, I guess. Did you have a favorite episode?
Oh gosh. Boy, I don't want to single anyone out, but I thought our Christmas Day episode was great. It was an episode where the actual episode of TV was kind of questionable because I came up with it. I
did not think we would have a cohesive episode from that.
But yeah, one of my favorite guests and some of the best, I think, conversation.
Oh yeah.
Most informative conversation probably that we had. But not to say any was bad. It's just that was the one that to me stood out. But I'm also I'm a foodie, so the food theme really worked for me. You know?
I mean, everyone was awesome. Don't get me wrong. There's already 3 or 4 podcasts that were on Twitter. They're like, yeah, we'll be back next year, right?
Maybe
we'd love to have you
choose our favorites from the last 2.
Regardless, we'd love to have everyone back if we could, but there's only 12 days of Christmas specials, so, which is why we didn't have we only had 2 podcasts back from last year too, because if we could have had more people back, we would have. But the whole point of these specials is to widen our community, not keep it barred off.
What was your least favorite episode?
Wow, I can't answer what was my favorite episode. Least favorite episode.
You can answer both.
Let's see. My least favorite episode was my favorite episode was probably, I really liked the bit, the Olsen twins bit, the Elizabeth and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
From Everyone Dies in Sunderland. That was
my gosh,
2 of a kind.
That was, I will say, that is the episode I laughed out loud the most at. We did that bit about the wigs in the courtroom, and I was dying listening to that. It was so funny.
You sent me that over text, and I was like, wigs, and then I remembered that they were British, and then one of them was kind of like a law person. And I was like, right.
Yeah. It was the unisex wig, and they were talking about the person using the hand dryer in the bathroom to dry their wig after pissing on it.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that was good. I loved everyone. I loved the fact that last minute we had a cancellation, and that we were able to not only fill it, but have 3 other podcasts be like, oh, sorry, I didn't see this soon enough. I definitely would have joined you guys.
I do have a least favorite, but not because of the guest.
Okay.
Just because I scarcely watched the show, and it was hard to watch the Keenan and Kel episode. I watched it on 2 times speed. I couldn't see anything above anyone's nose. And it was backwards. I was able to fix that. And I watched it super fast, as we were talking about. It was bad. So you do have to watch these things to actually talk about them intelligently. Yeah. So as it turns out,
that's Andrew's formal apology to Rocky Powell.
Yes.
Well, it was Wild Nights with Rocky Powell. I actually,
so sorry.
That was probably my 2nd or 3rd favorite episode. Now that I'm
it was rough.
Not that I'm ranking these, but just because Rocky and I, we're both big Keenan and Kel fans. All That fans, I'm pretty sure she's our age. So like that era of Nickelodeon was ingrained in her as well as me. So we were able to talk intelligently about it since we had both watched the episode.
I think at one point, if you watch the video, I just turn away for like a good 5 minutes.
But you don't want to watch the video because the audio for that is borked. Because that's borked. Well, that's I was rushing to finish all the audio, so I didn't have to do anything over Christmas, and I missed the mastering somehow on that episode.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm glad it was only that one. Yeah.
Bottom line, we don't sound very good untreated.
I think we sound okay. We just don't sound as good. And you're used to us sounding like this.
Well, I can't stay in front of my microphone ever reliably. I'm like,
same.
Hey, he's moving.
Yeah.
He's moving.
I start to drift away, and then I slouch down, and then I'm all the way over here, and then my hat hits it. The other big thing, since we last got to chat at you listeners, Betty White passed away. I think we're going to save talking about her until next episode. So tune in next week. But if you want to go back and listen to us talk about the Golden Girls, look for episode 49 of May 1992, which we talked about the Golden Girls. And Andrew and I, we took a BuzzFeed quiz to see which Golden Girl character we were. Spoilers, Andrew got Rose, which was Betty White's character in the show. And just R.I.P. Betty White. I'm sorry, you were only a couple days from turning 100. That sucks.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, she's been a staple of comedy and seemingly the same age since we were children. So
right. Yeah.
R.I.P. to Betty White, comedy legend.
Yes.
We should only be so lucky.
Yes. Rip. Indeed.
Rip to the max.
Rip to the max. She was a real big animal lover too.
Was she? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. She had like 29 dogs or something like that. Some crazy thing like that. And she donated a lot. She did a lot of philanthropy for animals and their welfare. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, shall we travel back to...
Let's do it. Let's travel back to January of 1991.
All right, listeners, travel back to January 1991, if you will. On the 1st, at the 77th Rose Bowl, Washington beats Iowa 46-34. On the 3rd, the first television set with closed caption display are introduced in the United States. Also on the 3rd, Wayne Gretzky becomes the youngest player in the NHL to score 700 goals.
Ooh.
On the 4th, Olivia Tennant is born. She plays Dr. K on Power Rangers RPM, which is mentioned, I believe, in our 12th day of the 12 Days of Christmas specials episodes. On the 7th, we have Saddam Hussein preparing his troops for what he says will be a long and violent war against the U.S.,
which will culminate in the closure of the McDonald's in Baghdad.
Exactly.
Due to COVID.
If you don't understand that reference, go back a week and listen to that episode. Also on the 7th, Talk Soup on the E! Channel debuts. On the 9th, Pete Rose is banned from the Baseball Hall of Fame for betting on baseball. Also on the 9th, Michael Jordan scores 40 points in a single game, which is a game high.
Damn.
On the 12th, Congress gives President Herbert Walker Bush authority to wage war on Iraq. And on the 17th, Operation Desert Storm begins.
Ronald McDonald just straps a shotgun to his back and just... No, sorry.
He has the Rambo bandana on.
Yeah.
Also on the 17th, Willa Fitzgerald is born. She is Emma Duvall on MTV's Scream. I believe that's the MTV TV version of the movie series Scream, which is now getting a soft rebooted movie.
No.
On the 19th, Sergeant Slaughter defeats the Ultimate Warrior for the WWF Championship belt. That's for our one wrestling fan out there. Love you, buddy.
Yay!
On the 19th, Aaron Sanders is born. She plays Quinn Penske on Zoe 101.
None of those words mean anything to me.
Zoe 101, I'm pretty sure was it was like the show before iCarly, from Dan Schneider's Bakery. We did an episode on the star Jamie Lynn Spears. Thank you. It was Jamie Lynn Spears' Nickelodeon show. On the 20th, Sarah Hannah is born. She plays Gia Moran on Power Rangers Megaforce. On the 25th, Steve Urkel from Family Matters crosses over onto Full House.
Oh.
And on the 27th, Super Bowl 25, the New York Giants beat the Buffalo Bills 20-19. And in the box office, honestly, I could have thrown in a towel for this one. On the 11th, Lionheart and Ski School. And on the 18th, White Fang.
I only know of White Fang because of
it being a
New
book.
Girl making the whole thing about it on one of their episodes.
The movie or the book?
I don't know. They're talking about white fanging people.
Or completely unrelated in the Billboard charts. Number 1 for January 1991 for the first 2 weeks is Justify My Love by Madonna. And on the third week, Love Will Never Do Without You by Janet Jackson. And finally in the last week and into February, The First Time by Surface. Also on the Billboard charts for January 1991 on the second week, we have at number 10, Gonna Make You Sweat, parenthesis, Everybody Dance Now, close parentheses, by C&C Music Factory. Number 11, Play That Funky Music by Vanilla Ice. Number 13, I'm Your Baby Tonight by Whitney Houston. Number 15, The Way You Do the Thing You Do by UB40. Number 16, Freedom by George Michael. Number 17, I'm Not in Love by Will to Power, which is a cover of that 10cc song you probably only know from the Guardians of the Galaxy. And number 20, Love Takes Time by Mariah Carey. Finally, number 23, Hangin' Long Enough by Phil Collins. Welcome to our new mid-episode break, Namely 90s Minute. Every week we look back at a culturally relevant show, movie, or piece of pop culture that probably helps stoke the algorithm. This week, in honor of Superman and Lois' Season 2 premiere on the CW, we are taking a look back at Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman is an hour-long drama based on the DC superhero who wears a red cape and his underwear on the outside. The series stars that guy who hosted Ripley's Believe It or Not and the desperate housewife that wasn't Eva Longoria. Airing on alcoholic beverage control from September of 93 to June of 97 for 4 seasons, the show loosely followed the modern origin of the character where the Superman is just Clark Kent's beard. As this was the first live-action adaptation since the movie franchise bombed out with Superman 4: The Quest for Peace in 1987, yes, that's the real name of the movie, it attempts to focus on the relationship between the two leads as much as on Villain of the Week style superheroics. In Season 1, Lois almost marries yet another live-action Lex Luthor with a full head of hair for the majority of his on-screen appearance. I'm looking at you, Gene Eisenberg, but backs out last minute, partly resulting in Lex jumping out of a window to his apparent death. The end of Season 2 has Clark proposing to Lois, which she accepts 7 episodes later in Season 3 after separating first and dating other people. 7 episodes! They jumped the shark in their 1996 Valentine's Day episode where Clark marries Lois only to find out that she's been kidnapped and replaced by a clone. Finally, tying the knot early on in the 4th and final season, they limp to the conclusion of the series, slowly dying at the 8 p.m. Sunday night time slot, finishing with a cliffhanger that reveals that Clark might have a son, and it's not from Lois. And that's Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, in a Namely 90s minute, more or less.
And now, back to the show.
Yeah, anywhere you want to go?
Didn't we already establish that I had nowhere I wanted to go?
Oh, yes, you did.
Let's
yes,
talk about the infamous crossover from TGIF.
Oh, yes. Urkel was on Full House for the season 4, episode 16 episode of Full House called Stephanie Gets Framed. Steve Urkel crosses over from Family Matters, which we talked about in episode day 8 of our 12 days of Christmas specials this past year. He's played by Jaleel White. This was a minor crossover because both shows were made by the same production company and clearly have the same set.
Yeah.
In this episode, Steve Urkel is the cousin of DJ's friend Julie, who, strangely enough, played Jaleel White's love interest in a 1990 TV movie.
Jaleel White's love interest when he was, what, 10?
Probably. Camp Cucamonga, which also happened to star Candace Cameron. I mean, they look like they're probably in their preteens in this. Well, yeah, probably like somewhere between 12 and 14. Steve Urkel, wow, already said that, and also said that part. Glad I copied the same thing twice. Anyway,
I just didn't really see the point.
Yeah, I believe he was, so Family Matters started in 1989, if I remember correctly. So this is probably during the season, like where because the first season he started as just like a random guest star that then took over the show. Now it's like starting to hit Urkel fever, and they're just trying to put him into the scenes. So he chases DJ and her friend home, and then somehow interacts with Danny and oh god, what is Jeff Stamos's character? Uncle Jesse.
Jeff Stamos?
John Stamos.
John Stamos. Jeffrey Stamos.
Here's
the thing though, that like we've watched a lot of crap over the last few weeks, right?
Yeah, past month. Or technically we started in October, but yeah.
Full House just had like I mean, it looked like a more quality show to me.
Yeah.
Like the actors were better. It felt more better produced and put together.
Well, this is season 4 at this point.
Yeah, but you put that up against the one and only season of the one with the live-in babysitter with the professor.
Two of a Kind.
Two of a Kind. Yeah. Good Lord, that was a travesty. It was a nightmare.
But they somehow managed to turn that into like 26 books after 40 books after finishing that one season.
I also think it's funny that Bob Saget, who is not a wholesome comedian, somehow ended up being like this wholesome dad figure on this show.
Yeah, the widower, wholesome dad. Yeah.
My question is, what's happening to people on TV where all of their wives are dying? Like, do they have large life insurance policies?
Systemic misogyny, Andrew?
They're like, every time they're like, so there's a dad. And let me guess, his wife has died. Okay, well.
What was the premise of My Two Dads is the real question. Did both of their wives die and then they became...
Then they... developed feelings for I don't know. I don't know that.
Could
show.
Full House have been My Three Dads had they not stopped? Like it was actually just a sequel of that series.
Yeah, true.
Although, yeah. All I know is the name of the show. I don't. But yeah, so I think the big focal point of this episode, though, was Stephanie gets glasses and thinks that she's kind of a nerd for having ugly for having to wear glasses. And
yeah, she's not wrong. No, I'm kidding. Oh, crap. I dropped an ice.
This is all stuff that I have to edit out later. If you go to namely90s.com/YouTube to see our YouTube channel, you can see Andrew struggling to get a piece of ice out of his frozen
you can watch
pod shed.
You can look at Andrew's obituary.
And now he's
on the website.
Anyway, Stephanie gets glasses. They're very terrible glasses. So of course people are going to make fun of her.
She just gets like transitions lenses. And an oversized leather jacket, and she wears it every day to middle school.
I feel like you're describing someone.
We can talk about that later.
Anyway, Steve Urkel shoves the two girls out of the room so he'd have a heart-to-heart with Stephanie in her bedroom. Kind of creepy, I'm gonna be honest. He closes the door after them. He's some uninvited child in their house. At least he knocked at this one.
Yeah, true.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Did you know that knock, the da 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 da, is called the shave and a haircut knock?
No,
that's what I meant to put in here, but that's what it's called. For anyone that doesn't understand that reference,
shaving a what?
Haircut.
Shaving a haircut.
Shaving a haircut. Yep. Dun dun. Anyway, that's the thing, and I remember it actually being the thing because now once it triggered something in my mind, I was like, "Oh yes, that makes sense." Anyway,
it's like I was gonna say, never mind, forget it.
He traps Stephanie in a room and convinces her to get in front of being made fun of, which is a common thing, if I remember correctly, in like children's TV shows where like they think that they're ugly because they have some physical deformity,
right?
That's easily solvable by just not picking the worst glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, and she goes to class and instead has like googly eyes and just a bunch of stuff that does not work. And then Steve is just gone for the episode.
So really, absolutely pointless.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crossover, but like nothing resolves with DJ and her friend and Steve chasing after them. It's just over. It's then now back to Stephanie's storyline about being ugly, which Jodie Sweetin's birthday is sometime a little bit later this month. Happy birthday to her. She's turning 40, I think. So the little girl that thought she was ugly is now a beautiful woman that doesn't wear glasses and has her own podcast, which
wouldn't it have been ironic if she was just super ugly? Just kidding. She wears transitions lenses.
Well, she's 40. I'm sure she's going to get transitions lenses eventually. Where else? Anywhere else you want to go? I want to talk about the Rose Bowl real quick.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the 91 jersey. So back when the Huskies were good, I believe we called that the John James era. I know this is going against your Wazoo culture, Andrew, but the Huskies were a good football team at one point in time. And my dad would get the jersey with the year on it as the number, and then like the special patch for like Rose Bowl or Orange Bowl or whatever. Because we were Husky fans. We were the East End Tequila Club. I definitely had a hat that said that at one point that I wore as a child. Anyway, I just thought that the 91 Rose Bowl, I think that's the jersey that I wore the most now that I think about it, for whatever dress up as a Husky day or whatever at school. Was that something you did at your school?
No. It may have been a sports day or something.
Might have been sports day. That sounds more accurate. But I just
literally, there is no way that I could possibly care less about college sports.
But you watch like minor league hockey. Those kids should be at college.
No, they're still in high school.
Fair enough.
No, but like, I don't know. The TV was on yesterday, and when on demand cuts out, like, or when I'm watching a DVR recording, sometimes they'll cut back to TV, and it was like on the Pac-12 network somehow, which was not something I would watch. I don't know if I just hit the button or something. And I'm just like laying there half asleep. I'm like, oh my God, how long can they talk about college basketball?
Oh, quite a long time.
And then I woke up in the morning and they were talking about it again. I was like, oh my God.
And it wasn't even the same people. It was a new show.
No, it was like we had even got past the ShamWow commercials. I guess something just slept in a little bit.
Well, I mean, people bet on like the NCAA basketball tournament, don't they? March Madness. That's what March Madness is.
Yeah. the thing I like about professional sports is you only have so many to keep straight. Like the problem with college football is like, hopefully you can memorize 6,000 teams.
That's
Good
true.
luck.
Yeah. And then the conference names were constantly changing because back then it was Pac-10. Now it's Pac-12.
True.
I blame the current Seahawks coach for screwing up everything in that.
The current and soon to be former Seahawks coach.
I don't think Pete Carroll. I don't think they're gonna get rid of Pete
I
Carroll. Do. Really? Huh.
Yeah, I think they're done. And I'm not saying it's because he's a bad coach. I just think
he's done.
He's not adapting to the league. He's trying to shoehorn his typical style, but the league has changed a lot in 10 years.
That's true.
As we can see. So I don't know. I think he's been a great coach, but I think that they need to make a change, and I think they know that.
Well, we will see that play out.
We shall.
Finally, I thought we should talk about Gonna Make You Sweat, parenthesis, Everybody Dance Now, close parentheses.
I like how if you ask someone what that song is called, they'd be like, oh, Everybody Dance Now.
Yeah, it's not even.
But it's called Gonna Make You Sweat.
By C&C Music Factory. I have a game, Andrew. I've made a game for you.
God, hopefully it goes better than the disastrous McDonald's game.
I learned from the disastrous McDonald's game. It's you don't know your international McDonald's. Apparently, giving weird esoteric hints don't help. So we're just gonna go with a very easy one. Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now has been featured in probably 20 different movies, 40 different TV shows, video games, commercials, etc., etc. And I'm going to give you 10 movies and 10 TV show episodes and ask you, was this song played in that movie or TV show? And we're going to start with the movies and start with Sister Act.
All right.
Sister Act, the Whoopi Goldberg vehicle. When lively lounge singer Dolores Van Carter sees her mobster beau, Vince LaRocca, Harvey Keitel played him, commit murder, she is relocated for her protection. She's set up in the guise of a nun in a California convent. Dolores proceeds to upend the quiet lives of these resident sisters. Was Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now by C&C Music Factory played in this movie?
Can I just say they would never put you as a nun? Like that's whatever. I'm going to say no.
That is incorrect. It was featured in the movie. They were all dancing and singing about. So, batting 0.
Oh, dear.
Next movie, Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. Showgirl Dolores Van Carter returned to Sister Mary Clarence to teach music to a group of Catholic students whose rundown school is slated for closure. Do they bring back C&C Music Factory's Gonna Make You Sweat, Everybody Dance Now for this movie?
See, now I want to say yes.
It would make sense. They would definitely relicense the same song for both movies.
Like, well, yeah, but they're such bad movies that I think they might. Are you saying it's not in that movie? I
am saying nothing of the thing. I'm just making a very sarcastic comment.
Okay, then I'm going to say no.
That is correct. It is not in this.
See, I assumed it was in the second one. I didn't think they went with the full cheese in the first one.
It's you know, I think the plot just demanded this song. No. Third movie, Chicken Run. It's an award-winning DreamWorks animation film from 2000, and it tells the story of a band of chickens doomed to a life of egg laying when a flamboyant American rooster arrives on the scene. I think it's played by Mel Gibson, if I'm not.
I want to say no.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You are correct.
Ding.
It is not in Chicken Run. Next up, we have Space Jam. Space Jam, the Michael Jordan original from 1996. I don't have plot details because everyone should know what Space Jam is.
I want to say yes.
You are correct.
Ding.
3 out of 4 correct. I didn't even give you like what you needed.
Oh.
I would say let's say 70%. You can
shoot.
You're doing so well so far. Did they bring it back in Space Jam 2021, the LeBron James led flick with where they tried to capitalize on the nostalgia of the first one?
I'm going to say yes.
Oh, that's incorrect.
Darn.
Sorry, it was not in that movie. Next is The Hangover. Everyone knows The Hangover. They go to Vegas. They have fun. Andrew's actually seen this movie, I assume.
I don't think it's in there.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You are correct.
Ding.
It was not featured in The Hangover. C&C Music Factory. Everybody dance now. Gonna make you sweat. Was it in Old School then? That's the Will Ferrell, Luke Wilson.
I want to say yes to this one.
Oh, and why do you want to say yes to this one?
It just seems like the type of movie that would demand this song.
You've seen this movie. I remember you enjoying this movie. So you say yes, it was in Old School.
Yes.
You're correct.
Ding.
I don't actually remember the scene that it was in. I just no. I would assume Vince Vaughn has something to do with it. Next up is Chicken Little. Young Chicken Little, played by Zach Braff, is panicked. The sky is falling. Then there's UFOs and aliens and a minor league baseball team.
The Bare Naked Ladies do the song for Chicken Little. And The Big Bang Theory.
Do they cover C&C Music Factories?
No. It's an original song that they did. It's a good song, actually.
The Presidents of the United States of America did The Big Bang.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
It's Bare Naked Ladies.
Is it?
Yep. The guy's a very distinctive voice, and also I've looked it up before. And also it plays on the Bare Naked Ladies Spotify list. But it could be the Presidents. I don't know. It's definitely they're Canadian. It's a whole thing. I'm gonna say yes.
Big Bang Theory. Good, because I lost respect for the Presidents. You already said yes. That was correct.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
but I'm saying yes,
and that is correct.
And I'm correct.
Fair enough. Let's see. Next up is Bruce Almighty, the one where Morgan Freeman is playing God. And
where am I at right now?
You are at 6 out of 8 correct.
Oh, Christ.
And a minute left on the episode.
I'm going to say no.
That is correct.
Ding.
The question now becomes, did they play it in the sequel led by Steve Carell called Evan Almighty?
Yes.
Ooh, that is correct. You're currently at an 80%.
Boom.
Should we continue with the TV shows or should we call it there?
I don't know. Yeah, we're running a little long, aren't we?
How about one final question? This is for all the marbles. You've already won. This is just for posterity at this point. Posterity. Was it featured in the following episodes of The Simpsons? Homophobia and Love is a Many Strangled Thing. When Bart befriends a gay antique dealer, homophobic Homer decides to bring out his son's masculine side by taking him hunting, but all does not go to plan. That's Homophobia. And then Love is a Many Strangled Thing is like season 22. Homer decides not to enroll in a fathering enrichment class after being persuaded by Marge.
I want to say it is in those.
You are correct. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, the Everybody Dance Now, Gonna Make You Sweat, parenthesis, Everybody Dance Now by C&C Music Factory, was played during the scene where Homer takes Bart to like a factory and he's like, factory workers are
oh yeah.
And then they just start like taking off their shirts and dancing with each other. Yeah. Also, sorry, go ahead.
Apparently, my knowledge of "Gonna Make You Sweat" (parenthesis Everybody Dance Now) close parenthesis by C&C Music Factory is spot on.
It's very impressive. Very impressive. And as you well know, it was on Jock Jams Volume 1, released by ESPN. Here's a list of things that it was also in. Nope, that's not interesting.
I thought that was Jacques Jams, and that was released by the French government.
Two different albums. Also in an episode of The Flash from the 90s, King of Queens, So You Think You Can Dance, Ellen DeGeneres Show, The Office, the Cafe Disco episode, American Dad, 30 Rock. Like, it was also heard on The Amanda Show from Nickelodeon. People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story. It was in a flashback. It's in an Applebee's commercial, a Target commercial, a Pringles commercial, NBA 2K18, Just Dance 3, Shrek the Halls TV special. Yeah.
It's a pervasive song.
Doesn't leave you. And that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Check the episode description for this week's supplemental Spotify playlist curated by yours truly to have just Gonna Make You Sweat, parenthesis, Everybody Dance Now, close parenthesis, by C&C Music Factory, as every track. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Namely90s with 90s, or find our personal accounts at bschwitty and at Namely Andrew, and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Namely90s, also with a 90s. Finally, you can also contact us through our website, Namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Gonna Make You Sweat, parenthesis, Everybody Dance Now, close parenthesis, by C&C Music Factory. Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, and that's Andrew, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye. I hate that song.